Hello gamers, welcome back to another video here on Solo Spelunking, and today I will continue my June 2024 solo role-playing challenge issued by Caverna do Lequis, where I have to play with just an oracle but no system. And this is episode 2 in this challenge, and we rejoin Caleb, my human thief and rogue, 23 years old, a fencer raised and grown up in the city streets of Delmar. This is the map where this adventure takes place. And he owes money to the Thieves Guild. They already tried to kill him because he is well overdue. So he picked up a quest from the notice board. And it's a quest issued by the Mages Guild, and they promised generous compensation, and that was what caught his attention, because he owes 60 gold coins to the Thieves Guild, and he only has I think 9 it was at the moment. Let me check my notes. 9 gold pieces. No, 11 gold pieces. So what's this? This is just GP gold piece that I owe 60. All right, so I got 11 gold pieces, yeah. And it is 5 p.m. as I arrive at the Mages Guild after barely surviving an ambush by the Thieves Guild. An attempt on my life, if you will. Let me get my pictures up here so that you know how I look like. And so I arrive at the Mages Guild. It is a very impressive stone building at the edge of the upper city, the noble district. And so I knock, and so there's like this big massive iron ring that you have to knock against the door, and it's a very heavy double-winged oak wood door with metal reinforcements, and of course there are a lot of arcane symbols carved into the door, and I go like poof, poof, poof. And then I just wait. And after a short while, this big double-winged wooden oak wood door is opened up. It doesn't make a noise, and it looks like as if it almost opens itself. Strange, but this is because it's the Mages Guild. And what you can see here on my tablet is a picture of the reception hall, the entrance chamber of this Mage Guild. And of course, even though the door basically opened itself, there is a beautiful woman, a young mage, and this is her miniature. Let me check the camera. Can you see it? Yeah, I guess. And she greets me with a soft tone in her voice, and she goes, "Yes, what brings you to our establishment at this hour, traveler?" she goes. And I go like, "Well, the name is Caleb, and who might you be?" "My name is Kyra," she goes. Let's write this down. Oh, Kyra. "My name is Kyra, and I'm an apprentice mage at this institution. So how can I be of service?" "Well, may I come in, or do we want to talk out here on the street?" "Oh, excuse my manners. Please do come in." So she steps back and lets me in. So I enter the reception hall, and I look up. Impressive. Yes, indeed. So, but now, what brings you into our halls? And I take the notice that I just ripped off the bulletin board because I don't want to have too much contenders or competitors, and I hand it over. Oh, you know, you were supposed to leave that note on the board so that others might also respond to it. She has a slightly annoyed tone in her voice, and I go like, oh, well, my bad, must have slipped my mind. Well, anyways, this is why I'm here. I am prepared, ready, and willing to look for your missing scholar. So I'm a capable fencer and adventurer with a variety of useful skills, and I am glad to put these skills into the service of your guild for this generous compensation that was mentioned, of course. And she smiles, of course, of course. Well then, that is good to hear. Please, and she motions to a little waiting area here in this alcove. Why don't you just sit down there for a moment, and I will be right back at your service with further details. Yeah, well, why don't I do that? So I sit down in this waiting area, and she disappears through this door here at the end of the hallway, or at the end of the reception hall. She disappears, and after a couple of moments and minutes, she arrives, and she carries some scrolls and leather, these leather covers where you can put posters or maps in, so these protective leather tubes, you know what I'm talking about. And so she has a couple of those with her, and she sits down with me. Well then, I'm actually sorry to say, but it seems that indeed you were the only one responding to our note so far. But as you can imagine, time is of the essence, so I will just brief you on the details, and then we can start and go as soon as you're ready. And I go like, did you say we? Oh yes, of course. I will be accompanying you. Okay. So I look at her. You don't strike me as the adventuring type. And as a matter of fact, of course, I also prepared some generic images. So this is her. She actually looks pretty nice and attractive, of course. So this is her. She's got like a bluish leather clothing and leather skirt, and this blue glowing amulet, and no visible weapons on her, not even like a small dagger or something. And I go like, well, you don't strike me as the adventuring type, so are you sure you're up to this? I thought you were an apprentice mage. Yes, an apprentice mage, but a mage nonetheless. And with that, she conjures this fireball that you see on the picture here in her hand, and she lets it grow and then shrink again, and then she just makes a gesture and the fireball disappears. And she goes like, well, I can assure you I am more than capable of taking care of my own. And yeah, I will accompany you just in case you encounter any obstacles of an arcane nature that you might need my help with, and also to ensure that everything goes in the guild's favor, if you get my meaning. Yeah, of course I get your meaning. You don't trust me. Don't worry. Your arcane secrets are nothing that concerns me. It might be shocking to you, but indeed, my primary motivator is money. You know, I want to be completely honest with you. There's some debts I gotta pay off with this reward or with this compensation that you are offering. So why don't we get into the details now that you have brought all your fancy maps and stuff with you? Yes, of course. So she gets the map out, and it's a map that sort of represents this surrounding wilderness, surrounding the town of Delmar. And let's determine randomly a hex where actually we need to go. So it is 9 and 9. 9, 9. All right, so that is here. I put MQ there for Mage Quest. All right, let me show you on the map. So actually this is not bad at all because it is all grassland, not very dangerous or difficult terrain. So 9-9 is here at the where the river flows through, and MQ stands for Mage Quest, so that I know that this is where we need to go, and we are here. And actually this is not too bad in open terrain. So these are 6 mile squares, and even though I'm not supposed to use a system, I think these are general established RPG terms that you can travel around 24 miles on foot in easy terrain. So that'll be like 4 hexes, and I will count this one as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be a 2-day march, and then in the morning of the 3rd day we will be arriving in the hex, and we will see what awaits. Yeah, all right, so a little hex crawl coming up. Okay, so actually, yeah, we gotta go east, and yeah, we have to go east, and it is a let me put like the directions here. So north, south, east, and west. And 1 hex equals 6 miles. All right, so now we got some context here to this map. Yeah, so it'll be a 2-day trip, but we will get horses from the guild. So with a horse, maybe we don't want to push the horses too hard, but I think maybe we can get there in the afternoon of the 2nd day. Maybe we got some horses that we can use for this expedition, of course. Yeah, so let's talk about this generous compensation. So what are we talking about here? Yeah, well, it'll be all right, let's say it's 50 plus 1d6 times 10 gold pieces. 50 plus 40, that is 90 gold pieces. All right, so the guild is prepared to offer you the amount of 90 gold pieces for this expedition. 90 gold pieces, All right, so well, 90, come on, why not make it 100, huh? It's easier to calculate. Why don't we just see how this expedition goes, and then we can maybe negotiate some sort of hazard pay, if you want to call it that. So you will get a guaranteed payment of 90 gold pieces, plus we will split any valuables that we will discover, and then we might discuss some form of hazard pay. Does that strike your fancy? Is that more to your liking? Yeah, that sounds actually pretty good. So what are these runes this scholar investigated? Yeah, well, we call them, it seems to be like a larger complex, and it is, let's roll something up here, 45. The Eerie, all right, so it's not, I don't want it to be an Eerie, it is just the tomb. Tomb 38, Tomb of the Etheral 90, Tomb of the Etheral Tree, all right, okay. So we believe it is an underground complex that is referred to as Tomb of the Etheral Trees in our chronicles. Of the Etheral Tree, Tomb of the Etheral Tree. Tomb, huh? All right, well, it doesn't sound that inviting, but it's just a name. So what was it this scholar was looking for? Well, this is not important, is it, for this task or the mission at hand? No, of course it's not important, but it also can't hurt to get some little background details. Well, during the voyage, I think we will have enough time to talk. I don't want to spill all my secrets right away. And she smiles and blinks one of her eyes. Okay. All right, so it is already late. When do we leave? We will leave tomorrow morning at first light. Meet me at the city stables at the eastern gate, and make sure you get all the provisions you need for this trip before we leave. You are responsible to provide for yourself your own provisions. Well, thanks for giving me the heads up. I will cobble some gear together. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow, first light, stables, east gate. And what will you be wearing? And I smile. You know, I gotta, so that I can recognize you. And she looks at me and smiles. Well, I do not think that you will have any trouble recognizing me. And again, she smiles and gives me a wink with her eye. And then she just turns, and while she's turning, she motions with her hand, and as she motions, those double-winged doors to the reception hall, they open again, and she goes, I trust you find your way out? Yes, thank you. Tomorrow morning then. All right, so I leave, and I need to get some gear together, so I got 11 gold pieces. So for 11 gold pieces, I'm getting together a little adventurous kit, because I don't have one yet, and yeah, I will just all right, so get an adventurous kit. And I will say like that this is the crawling kit that is in here. I mean, no system, but it's just like an orientation. The crawling kit crawling kit. Backpack, flint and steel, torch, rations, iron spikes, grappling hook, and rope. And I usually exchange the iron spikes for a crowbar because I think that is more useful in a dungeon delving kit. And yeah, let's double up on the rations, 6 rations, and add a bedroll to it, so it'll be a 10 gold piece kit instead of the 7. So I add a bedroll and I double the rations, and the iron spikes are just replaced with a crowbar. And it's all in a backpack, nice package. And let's throw in a water skin as well. All right, that's it for 10 gold pieces. So I call this an adventurer's kit. 10 gold pieces, which also means I only have 1 left. But I have a problem now because I still have to spend 1 night in the city and they're looking for me, the Thieves Guild. So I gotta see yeah, how I managed that. So adventurer's kit, and I'll put down as crawling kit with 6 rations, bedroll, crowbar, and a water skin. And that's 10 gold pieces, so I only have 1 gold piece left. Make a note here, 1 GP left. Yeah, so this talking was like real time. So what was it, like 10 minutes or so, and then shopping. So let's say it's 6 p.m., 1800 hours now, as I am looking for a place to stay. And actually, I do not want to stay at an inn or tavern because I assume that the Thieves Guild, they have eyes and ears on the streets everywhere. I mean, I know that I grew up here. But I also know a couple of abandoned areas, like abandoned buildings or sewer entry passages, some unpleasant locations that are not frequently checked or patrolled. So I will head over to one of these locations, and I will make an oracle roll if I am able to get there undetected. And since I know the streets and grew up here, it is very likely that I do, so I'll give myself advantage. So as a little reminder, this is a D20 oracle, and 11 plus is a yes, and 1 through 9 is a no, 10 is a twist that injects some randomness, and if I roll an odd result, it is a but, and I get to choose if I have advantage. So which one to use. And yeah, let's get my dice cup and let's roll. Let's put this up here so that you can see the roll. 13 and 8. I will use the 13 because that means that I get there undetected, but it's an odd result, which means a but somehow influences the result. So I do get there undetected, but in order to do so, I have to pass through the territory of a street gang that I know, and they demand a little toll, which I will pay. I only have 1 gold piece left, but they're not that bad. They only want 5 silver. So I pay, so I have 5 silver pieces left, and so I get there undetected. And this is also not too bad because this gang or group might provide some form of protection against the Thieves Guild also, if this is their territory. Yeah, so I find a secluded spot. It's an abandoned, what is it, an abandoned It's not an abandoned warehouse. It is an abandoned or a former wine cellar, which is not used anymore, belonging to a larger, what is it, a vineyard or something. And yeah, in this abandoned wine cellar, I get a chance to try out my new bedroll. So because I already got my adventurous kit, so I lay out my bedroll on the floor and I will rest. And I try to sleep not too deep, and so that I wake at first light. I make sure that I sleep in an area where there's a window and where the first sun rays and sunlights awake me. So don't make this too complicated. I will be on time the next day. All right. So, and at this early hour, the members of the Thieves Guild, they're not active because they have gone about their business at night and they're still asleep. So I reached the stables, and sure enough, Kyra is there. She also has a travel kit with her, like a backpack, and underneath her leather skirt, she now wears also some pants. And, well, this came out wrong. I mean, of course, she were wearing pants as well under her skirt, but now she's wearing travel pants, you know what I mean. And, yeah, so she already got the horses prepared. And now she also has some weapons. So she has a finely crafted long dagger attached to her belt, and also a little wooden staff that she carries with her as well. And over her outfit, she also has a travel cloak with a hood that protects her a little against wind, weather, and wetness. Glad to see that you made it. So are you ready to go? Yes, I am. Let's go then. So we head out the eastern gate. You're out the eastern gate. But then, yeah, we follow the road for a while, but then we leave the road and head southeast, travel along the edge of the swamp. And a horse, it adds +2 hexes, I would say. So we can travel 6 hexes. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So indeed, we would make it till here, but 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I gotta count this with me. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will not, because this is a pretty safe square here next to the town and the road and stuff. But for all these hexes, I will make a random encounter roll with a d6. And on a 1, we will face a random encounter. Because this is not unsafe terrain, it's open plains. So the encounter chance is 1 in 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we will be at 0609 if all goes well. Let me mark this here. You know what? Let's put down D1 for end of day 1. But I'm not there yet. It's just for me as a reminder. Now we gotta make checks. So 5 encounter checks. So the first 2 hexes. First 2 hexes, already 1 encounter. All right, so I will treat it like that this will happen in the second hex. So this hex is safe here, no encounter here, but in 0308 we will have an encounter. All right, so that I get this out of the way, let's check the other 2 hexes. So that is 6 hexes, but 5 the other 2 hexes, no encounter, and then we have 1 hex left, so the other 2 would be 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh yeah, so oh yeah, okay, till here. I was wondering, but I only need to go to day 1. All right, so 1, 2, 1, 2, and the last one for this hex. Also no encounter. So that'll be the only encounter we are facing. And so how do we go about this? No oracle, just no system, just oracle, but I can also use generative resources, and I'm on the fence now if I should use a random encounter table or a prompt. But I think a prompt is more fun, requires more creative elbow grease, if you want to call it that. But before I roll the prompt, let me change the scenery as well, because I created some standard images for standard terrain as well. So we are traveling through grassland. So every now and then there's a little homestead, and we can see mountains in the distance. So isn't that beautiful? Let me check the camera. Yeah, I think you can see it all right. I really like this with the pictures in the background. I mean, I just tried it for this episode, but I think it's a nice addition. So let me know what you think in the comments. But I think I will stick to that. Okay, so let's roll a prompt. Let's roll a prompt to see what the encounter is. So, and while we're traveling, so we're traveling at a relatively relaxed pace, so to not over exhaust the horses too much. Of course, I make a little small talk, and of course, I'm a young hormone-driven male, and she's a beautiful young mage. So of course, I'm flirtatious, and yeah, make some, I think, witty comments, but I don't know what she thinks. But we will ask the oracle about that. But first, we need to determine what exactly is going on. And I'm going with verb and noun, and then I'll see what that gets me, and then I'll see if I need something else. All right, verb, that is 63. That is 63 is reverse. Okay, so reverse, what do we reverse? Reverse 72. All right, I already have an idea about this reverse thing, but let's check. Reverse animal. Yes, that is great. All right, so reverse animal. So while we are traveling through this grassland, we suddenly, or not suddenly, but we see horses appearing in the distance, and those horses, they are pretty fast, and they are running towards us as if something spooked them. And as they come closer, we see that there are no riders on the horses, but there are saddlebags, but now one of the horses is getting slower and slower and slower, and suddenly it collapses and falls to the ground and does not get up anymore, and it appears as if it's dead or anything. And the other horse is running a little bit more, but then also slows down because it's exhausted, and maybe, I don't know, the immediate danger is gone, whatever, but then it calms down. So, and there they head towards the general direction of the city. Damn, what happened? Let's check it out. Yeah, let's look after the horse. And Kyra, she has concern in her voice, and she drives her horse into a sprint to head towards the collapsed horse, and I follow her. And we arrive, and the collapsed horse, it's got a horrible wound on its side. It looks like as if some huge claw from a large clawed creature slashed it right open, and it is, yeah, it's probably dead. Let's see if it's dead. Oracle roll, and no, it's 50-50. Let's see if it's dead or alive. So 11 plus is a yes. Is it dead or alive? So is it still alive is the question. No, it is a 2, almost the... All right, so as we approach the horse, we immediately see that we are too late. The horse is dead. So a fresh wound, and Kyra, she looks at the wound. Oh, that does not look good. She takes a closer look at the wound. Let's try to determine if she's able to maybe determine what kind of animal did this, but this is with disadvantage because she's a mage, not a ranger, but she's got some academic knowledge. So the question is she able to discern what probably caused this wound? "13, that is a yes, but." All right, a yes, but. So yes, but means she's got a general idea, but she doesn't know exactly. I am pretty sure that this wound was caused by some form of dire animal. But I can't tell if it's a dire wolf, a dire bear, or a dire eagle or whatnot, but we gotta be careful. If there's a dire animal here that has made its territory here, we should be careful. Yeah, you bet we should. Have you ever encountered a dire animal before? I ask her. And she goes, only dead ones during my studies, to study the anatomy of these beings. So only on an autopsy table. Autopsy table. Nice. So what do you say? Do we press on, or do we make camp here to maybe, if there's this dire animal, give it some time to move on, if it's like on a hunt? Well, I'm not sure. I'm not a ranger actually, and I don't know too much about the behavior of these animals. Well, neither do I, because I'm a city guy, and I've never encountered a dire animal before. Oh, and she looks at me. City guy, huh? Didn't you tell me that you were an adventurer with a wide array of skills and a varied skill set? Yeah, I did, and it's also true. Doesn't necessarily mean that these are skills that refer to wilderness survival. I do have a variety of skills, and I'm glad to show you some. I smile. Maybe one other time. So the question now is, do we press on or not? And here I want to do a little OOC, short interruption, OOC, because I think this is a good opportunity to throw in some general solo RPG philosophy, if you want to call it that. So I want to talk a little about random encounters. And what they are for me. Because usually you think, well, random, or some people, or maybe a few, I don't know, so this is just my opinion, think that a random encounter always got to be some form of action. So there got to be maybe like a fight, a danger, a trap, or whatever, because like this encounter always implies like some sort of danger. So maybe encounter is the wrong term. Maybe it should be just event or happening. And when I was doing my video about how to start solo role-playing and my tutorial videos, I always say that random encounters are there to remind the player, the solo player, that the world is alive around his character or his party, and that the world is a living, breathing place that exists even though, or whether the character is there or not. And what random encounters are, they are opportunities for interaction that you don't always have to take, but what they always do is they establish some fact about the game world. They leave some impression in the game world, if you want to call it that. Some impression, some footprint, some track. And this event that happened should then be considered continuing on when you further interpret the happenings around you or interact with the world. So in this concrete example, I mean, this was completely random, you know, so and plans change on contact with the enemy. So I was like mapping out my progress on the map and thought, yeah, well, we travel and then we make camp. So now this encounter happened, and purely by chance, reverse animal. And when I heard reverse, I didn't even roll up animal. And this is also one of the like principles of solo RPG. If something sparks an idea, an imagination, go with it. And reverse was for me like someone going back. So we encounter someone going back, and then of course there had to be a reason for this someone, why they went back. Some sort of event. Well, it could be they have accomplished whatever they set out to do, but the more exciting interpretation, of course, would be that they were driven back by something. So I kind of hoped, actually, that the second word somehow fit into this concept. Because I had this idea when I rolled the first word, when I rolled reverse. And then, luckily, animals, and then, of course, yeah, spooked, horses, no riders, because the riders are dead, and they were spooked by danger, and this was the scene that I had in mind now, with this wounded horse collapsing because of some threat. And this is all what this random encounter established now. It established a fact in the world that there's a threat, and because of the oracle roll, we know that it's some sort of dire animal, and now we somehow have to react to this. And this is why I think random encounters, especially in solo play, are great, are a good addition, and I like solo mechanics, and most solo mechanics and oracles do. I like mechanics that have a method to inject random encounters fluidly into the world. Well, this was not because of an oracle roll now. This was because in a hex crawl you make encounter rolls. But it could have also happened if I have to ask anything and we had rolled a twist. So that's this method of injecting a random event. Let's call them event, not necessarily encounter, into the world. So a little philosophy, but now back into the game. The question is, do we continue on or not? And well, she goes, well, we have no idea of knowing what's the right path. So we should stick to our planned course of action until we have a concrete danger that forces us to do otherwise. And I go like, that sounds wise. You surely are a mage, huh? But, I mean, this poor horse, we can't do anything for it anymore at the moment. So I think we should first look through its saddlebags. Maybe there's something useful we could use. And then maybe we should cut off some nice pieces of meat, some tender, fresh pieces of meat that we roast over the campfire tonight to not let it go to waste and to conserve rations. She goes, well, actually, while this sounds actually pretty tempting and delicious, so OOC talk, I think in the medieval fantasy times, people had no squalls, they didn't think twice about eating horse meat. I mean, I know that my mother, when she was younger, that even they had horse meat every once in a while, and there were like horse butchers that made like horse sausages and stuff. So think of it what you will. I've never tasted it, but I think it was common to also eat horse. So I think it's no big deal here to suggest that. But what was I about to say? Horse meat. Oh yeah. She goes, well, I think this might be tempting. The smell and the fire might actually draw the attention of whatever predator is out there towards us. So I would actually suggest the opposite. We leave the horse here to maybe lure the animal here to feast while we are moving as fast away as we can, and we don't light a fire at night and live off of our rations. And I go like, well, now if you spell it out like this, it actually makes a lot of sense. Are you sure you're not a ranger? I am sure, but I'm a woman of many talents. She goes, it looks like she's picking up on my little double talk here. All right, so let's check the saddlebags. Do they have anything we can use? And I think it is pretty likely, so I give it advantage that they have at least like some sort of tarp, bedroll, rations, some sort of outdoor stuff that we could use. And if I get like a really great result, like a 20 exceptional, yes, maybe they got some valuable stuff as well. And I roll with advantage. 14. So it's a yes and no but. So let's say they are 1d6 rations. Doesn't count, always got to roll in the tray. So 4 rations. We get 4 more rations. Plus 4 rations. From dead horse. And no, not from the dead horse, but from the saddlebags of the dead horse. So and what else? Of course, a water skin. I don't need to roll for that. So there's another water skin. So we will drain that first before we drink our own. And let's D6 decider. 4, 5, 6. We find something more, something else. No, we don't. And also no money. All right, but better than nothing. 4 rations and a water skin. So we take this, and then indeed we continue on, and we already determined that there will be no more encounters. So we make camp in square 0609. So show it to you on the map, and where exactly we make camp within this square doesn't really matter. So we make camp here, and we still have this to go. And so that'll take us, if we ride early, we will be there shortly before noon on the second day. So that is not too bad. Okay, so we make camp. Let's see if we find a secluded spot that is actually safe, but we have disadvantage. So gotta take the lower one. Do we find a secluded spot to make camp? Disadvantage. No, we don't. 4, and the 9 is also a no. So we find a spot to make camp, but we do have to roll for random encounters. It is not very safe. All right, change of scenery. And there we go. So the trees, they don't really fit. I should generate another image, not in the forest, but in the plains. So, but this is our campsite. So, yeah, of course, she brought some sort of makeshift tent. I don't. So, now, so we make camp and also no campfire, because we determined that we won't make a campfire for safety purposes. And yeah, so we eat our rations, we make a little small talk. So let's roll if over the course of the day I'll be flirtatious. Let's see if I may be, don't make it too easy. She's a headstrong woman. If I am able to get someplace with her, but disadvantage. So am I able to romance her, if you want to talk in Baldur's Gate terms? Disadvantage. Oh, disadvantage means I got to use the lower one. Sadly, it's a twist. Ha, almost. So I'm not able to romance her, at least. No, wait, it's a twist. Let's roll the twist first. So we make small talk as I inject a twist into the story. Actually, it happens more often than you think that you roll this 10. 74. 74. 74. 74. Oh, I'm at dungeon names. I was wondering. All right, no, verb and noun. 74. 74. 70 is take. All right, take something. Take 60. Take trick. Take something by trick. All right, so while we are talking, a goblin thief, a goblin scout or thief, has scouted us out, but it's a single goblin, a lone goblin. He's on a scouting mission, and he sees that we're talking and not really paying attention, and he tries to take something with a trick. So he tries to steal something, and it'll be my backpack, because her backpack is of course already in her tent, because she's got a tent and I don't, and it's easier to get to my backpack. So the goblin, he tries to steal my backpack. The question is, do we notice we get disadvantage, or I, because I'm distracted by my attractive travel companion? So let's see what happens. So the question is, do I notice that I'm about to be robbed of my pack, and it's with disadvantage, so I got to use the lower one. So it's a 4, so that is actually a no. Yeah, do I notice? Yeah, no, I don't. So disadvantage, right. And also no but. So that is too bad. I don't even get like a slight chance. Like, for example, I don't know, that maybe something falls out or something. So no. So do I notice the attempt to steal? No, I don't. And also no but. So we are talking. And now I got to roll again, though, if I get to her, because that was the twist. I roll again with disadvantage. Look at that, a 20 and a 17 disadvantage. I gotta take the 17. It's a but it's a yes. So the following happens. So we are done talking, and then actually I check for my stuff, and then I go, damn. And she goes like, well, what's wrong? My backpack, it's gone. I left it right here against this little bush, and it's gone. Someone took it. Yeah, well, but there was no one here. I mean, surely we would have noticed. Well, obviously we didn't. Damn. Damn. So we quickly checked the area for any tracks, but we don't see any, because it was a sneaky little goblin. Damn. Well, thank God that we found those rations that you luckily put in your saddlebags from the dead horse. So at least, and I still have my bedroll, because I already separated it from the backpack and lay it on the floor. But flint and tinder, my rations, I had a crowbar that probably would have been useful. It's all gone. Damn, so we got to be careful. All right, so we should, of course, set a watch. And she goes, she smiled, you're traveling with a mage. We don't need such mundane things as a watch. We don't? Of course not. I can just cast an alarm spell that'll alarm us and wake me if anything comes near our camp. Oh, that's actually pretty neat. It is. And she smiles at me, and so that you don't have to be all by yourself alone in the wilderness, we can share my tent. But you'll keep your hands to yourself. For now, she adds. And she invites me into her tent. That's the but. All right, so this is where we will leave it, because I checked. I'm approaching my 1 hour mark. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this session. I surely did. Let me know in the comments. And oh yeah, and I always forget to tell this at the start of the video. So of course, please, if you like the video and you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe and like and share and do all this YouTube stuff. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. And I'm looking forward to the next episode of this solo RPG challenge. Another shout out here to Caverna Dulekis for putting up this challenge. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.